G'day everyone, welcome back to VTA. We're back in here working on the Massey 25. I'll flip this camera around and I'll give you a look at what we're doing. So what we're doing here is we're working on the brakes. Basically, we've already pulled it all apart. We've also already relined, this is the brake band. The material that was on there was basically completely worn out and chunks of it missing and whatnot, which is all good. We've basically drilled out all the rivets, got some new brake material, laid it in there, drilled the holes, countersunk them, and peened the rivets over. So that's the new brake band. This is the brake drum that was off this tractor. It's actually been butchered. You see it's been welded and stuff here. That's really not how it's meant to be. But we have a parts tractor. So here is the brake band off the parts tractor. So as you see, hasn't been welded up. No butchering going on there. So now we shall be able to put it all back together. So basically, you've got in here, you can see where this lip is. We've got a new lip seal to go in there. That'll sit in there, sit up against that lip. Then you've got, this is the brake shaft, slides in here. On the inside, a gear goes on this end, circlip goes on the end to stop the gear walking off. Then, obviously once that's in, you slip the drum on the outside, tighten it all up, and then after that, the brake band and everything goes on around the outside. So first port of call is to get the get the seal in, then we'll get the gear on the inside, and then we'll start assembling the external part. So what we have here, this is the gear that goes onto that shaft. So what happens is the circlip goes into that lip in the end, and it actually recesses into the end of this gear so that it can't come off at all. And then once you put the brake drum on the outside, bolted on tight on here, the shaft cannot move in that direction. So therefore the circlip can't come out and the gear can't come off. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to slip this in there, slip the shaft out a bit, put this in, obviously line the keys up, the two keyways on it, and then I'll pop the circlip on. So you can see gears on the shaft. If you turn it, the transmission inside turns, and the circlip's right there. If I stick my hand in here and push the shaft all the way back, circlip disappears. So you can see it through the keyhole there, but circlip tucks in, therefore it can't come out. So now we're going to start working on the drum. So we do need to make sure that once it's all on there, there is actually not too much play, because if there's too much play in the shaft, then it can, obviously it can pop out the end and the circlip can come off, and there's just too much play and everything. So we'll get that set on and see how it looks. So here it is. It's on. As you can see, put a nut on. It's a castellated nut, so we will put a split pin on that one. And there is probably not going to pick it up on the actual video, but there is a small amount. I actually looked up the specs, about 10 thou, which is about what we've got. So small amount of end travel, but you can't get the circlip out. Nothing fouls, it all spins freely. So all we got to do now is put a circlip in it and then start actually assembling the handbrake, which will go right here. All the parts are on the floor there, so we'll get into that. Okay, so we've got the handbrake lever mounted. Now what we've got with the this sort of Y-shaped piece on the backside here, that lines up with that bolt hole down there. And basically what we do is that's also what anchors the end of the brake band, and the other end goes into here. So we can put most of that on just to make sure it all fits, but obviously we'll have to pull that bolt out so that the brakes, so that we can lift it off the chassis stand and put it back. Sorry, lift it off the stand and put it back in its chassis. So But that's all right. We'll get it all set up for now, and then I'll redo that later. Okay, so I actually got that wrong. This end of the brake band actually goes on this same shaft in under here. That bolt will go in later when we assemble it all. Silly me. Anyway, so now I just have to take this sort of banana-shaped piece off. That'll allow it all to slide. Actually, no, I could probably all slide together. Maybe I don't have to undo that. Maybe I just slide this all off together off the end of this shaft, slip that back in, and then push it all back on, and then we should be right. Okay, after a couple of little false starts there, I got it all put back together. So I got the brake band on with our new brake lining. What I figured out was this nut is sort of meant to go on. It goes a nut, then through the lever, then the spring, then a second nut. So what I've done is I had to actually pull all this back off again, get all that back on, and then put it back on, which was no big deal. This pin here just slides into the housing and is retained by this locking bolt. So that was easy enough once I got that on. I don't have any split pins with me, so split pin to go through here and split pin to go through here. I'll just grab some, that's easy enough. And next, just the cover that covers where our gear went here. I'm going to make a new gasket for it and bolt it back on. Okay, so we got the brakes all assembled onto the transmission, and that was sort of one of the last things I wanted to get done before putting the engine and transmission back into the chassis. The main reason was that circlip that goes onto the gear. I figured it would end up in the bottom of the transmission, and it was probably going to be really hard to get out. So I figured assembling it like that was my best bet. So we've done that. Hopefully next, I think we're going to be looking at actually dropping the engine back in. Yeah, so sorry I haven't been on a lot of videos lately. I've had a bit going on. But hopefully I can get a bit more done, and I can keep making some videos for you guys. Thanks for watching, like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.